Hey everyone, me again. So another overview of a military surplus rifle that's out on the market right now. This, of course, is a VZ58 from Southern Tactical. They've kind of hit the market with several different vintage rifles. They do Setme's, Galil's. I believe they do an M16A1 clone. That may be it for now. I'm not 100% sure. That's all that's coming to mind at the moment. But in any case, this is a somewhat more affordable option than what you get from Czech small arms, although not by far. But even the Century guns these days are going for nearly $1,000. So that's just kind of where the VZ58 market happens to be. This will be kind of a initial impressions, kind of part one, as far as what I gather from build quality as it comes from the factory. Some range testing as well, just to see that it's not dead on arrival, because I have had that happen with other manufacturers as well. And then we'll do a follow-up video later on as far as how well it's holding up over time, probably a deeper dive into accuracy and things like that. One of the cool things about the Southern Tactical option is that they actually use Czech-made chrome line barrels. Of course, in order to do this legally, they did have to pin and weld the muzzle brake on there. Without that, it would just be slightly short of that 16-inch minimum to be legal. So that's their way of getting around that. It doesn't bother me any because this is the exact muzzle brake I would have chosen for this rifle anyways, but if you want to do a different one, be aware that's something you're going to have to contend with. As you can see, it does have a bayonet lug. They put it in this gray Duracoat finish that's meant to mimic the Czech military finish. It's not 100% convincing, but it looks pretty all right. We'll see how well it holds up over time. Overall, fit and finish is actually quite good. Like, nothing's loose or rattly or anything like that. Not even the magazine wobbles like whatsoever in any direction, and yet they click in very smoothly and positively. So the machining on the receiver as far as the mag well goes and locating the mag catch, really quite impressive. I went with the fixed stock option. I have had a couple of these rifles before, including one with the folding stock. They're actually really quite uncomfortable as far as cheek weld goes. I've seen people kind of wrap them in paracord just to try to mitigate that. I figured I'm not going to bother with any of that. I'm just going to get one of the fixed stock models, but they do offer the folding stock version as well. Now, I have had a couple of VZ58s before. They both gave me problems. One of them had kind of the infamous trigger gremlin issue. The other seemed so overgassed that the piston spring that's in here would get smashed up if using that Yugo Surplus M67 ammo. It ran fine with commercial, but pretty much, run a couple mags of that Yugo stuff and you need to replace that spring. It would be in pieces. So we'll see how well it holds up. I will be testing that as well. But initially, so far, I'm very, very impressed as far as fit and finish goes. Like, the only nitpick I could come up with, and it's not even a real nitpick whatsoever, is that if you look at some of the original used parts, you'll see signs of use or some, pitting that was, say, finished over or something like that. But again, they literally tell you to expect that. These are built from, parts kits. That's really it. If I had to have a broader complaint, and again, it's not a real complaint either because, they didn't advertise anything different, but for the money, you don't really get a whole lot with it. It ships with just a one magazine and this soft case, and that's it. I guess also a chamber flag that was just a zip tie, but that's really it. No instruction manual, no sling. This sling is not original or correct. It's actually a Set Me sling. I just happen to have it on hand. It's a temporary placeholder, but I'll probably get an original eventually. But yeah, you get pretty much nothing else. Again, they don't advertise you get anything else, and maybe the margins are that thin that it's between providing some original accessories or doing it right. So if that's the case, of course, they erred on the correct side. But so far, I really am very impressed with it as far as build quality goes. It doesn't have K31 levels of refinement, but it also doesn't have Century and Wasser levels of crudeness either. It's well made. So how does it shoot? Well, actually very well. I ran about 150 rounds of Tula through it. That's all I had on hand. It ran fine. Every round fired, ejected, fed perfectly without any issue with all the magazines. I bought additional ones, of course. It only ships with the one. But yeah, could not be happier with it in that regard. I didn't get a chance to do any serious accuracy testing. It seems to shoot to point of aim at about 50 yards is about all I can say right now. Like I said, we'll do a more detailed look later on, but really very pleased with it. No issues. I will be testing it with other loadings as well as they become available to me, but so far so good. The only kind of complaint I have is the trigger on these rifles is genuinely pretty bad. It's got a long reset. It's quite heavy. I would say probably at least 8 pounds. There are some aftermarket options, of course, but they're fairly expensive, so I don't know if I'll bother. Just a matter of getting used to it. It's definitely different, we'll put it that way. But so far, really so good. The rifle runs well, it seems well made. Can't ask for too much more. Of course, I can't give a strong recommendation just yet, just because, one range trip is probably not enough, but off to a very good start. In the next one, like I said, I'll take a more detailed look at accuracy and discuss kind of how well it's held up. I want to do probably at least 1,000 rounds before I do an update to make sure as far as nothing breaks. Like I said, I'm going to try various loadings that are out there to make sure that it holds up reasonably well. But really, so far, off to a very good start. Can't ask for really too much more at all. That's really it. Thank you for watching, as always.